Okay, synthetic division, so hang in there because this stuff gets a little strange. But in the end you'll see that it's a pretty simple way of dividing. So synthetic division is, it's just another way to divide polynomial by a first degree first degree we mean x to the first power, right? Binomial of the form x minus c. So it's just a first degree polynomial. So it can only be x to the first power. It can't be x to the second power or third or anything else. It can only be x to the first power. Okay, so only x to the first power. So remember that. That's a big deal. Okay, and that's only x to the first power. So try to remember that. You can't do it with anything squared. You just have to do long division. Okay, so here it goes. Again, stick with me. A little weird, but I'll try to do a lot of color here so you understand what's going on. So here's your first one, and so I have 2 x cubed. Now I'm using color so you can see what I'm grabbing. It makes it a little easier to see. I'm going to put a 1 there, even though we don't usually show that. Okay, so there's my polynomial that I want, and I'm going to divide it by x. Let's see, let me grab something else here, another pretty color, minus 4. Okay, all right, now here's what's going on. In synthetic division, what you do is you get rid of this x cubed, x squared, x. All right, and I'm only going to use these numbers in green. I'm also going to use the opposite of this number in purple. Actually, you know what? I just messed up, and it should be plus 4. Okay, plus. Change your notes. Plus. Okay. So I'm going to use the numbers in green, and then I'm going to use this 4 that's in purple for a different part of it. The first thing that I want to do, so number 1 is I want to check for decreasing degree. Okay, so number 1, check for decreasing degree. And what that means is, you know, is it x to the third, x squared, x to the first, and then you have x to the 0. Do you have that decreasing degree? So check, and you know, if we look at this, we see, okay, it's x cubed, x squared, x to the first, and yes, x to the 0. We don't show it, of course. All right, the next very strange thing that you're going to do is there is going to be a number in a box. It's like magic, really. Here's my box, and I'm going to put a number in it. The number that I'm going to put in it is the opposite of this number here in purple. So if I have a plus 4, what I'm going to put in there is a minus 4. Now I'll show you why it's opposite. It's opposite because we set up here in our definition that's a first degree binomial of the form x minus c. Well, you can see here I have x plus 4, but the form is x minus c. So what I'm having to do is taking the opposite of this. Okay, so I need minus a negative 4 would actually give me a positive 4. So I'm going to take the opposite sign here, and I have a minus 4 in my little box. The next thing I'm going to do, okay, so that's where you get the one thing. From here, it's the opposite. Don't forget, it's the opposite. Let's give us a little opposite. Okay, so watch for that. Here's some eyeballs. Watch for this. You want the opposite. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just taking the coefficients. You can see I'm kind of spreading them out because you need to spread them out a little bit. So I took those coefficients and I'm going to draw a line. Now this line, you can see I held it down a little bit because I have a little bit of work to do in here. So this is where it gets a little strange. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring, hopefully you can see that, it's yellow. I'm going to bring that number down and I'm going to get a 2. So just bringing that first number down. Now the next thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take, and I'm just going to write this little here because this is something that you're going to end up doing in your head. So I'm going to take 2, and this 2 is coming from here. 2 times, negative 4. 2 times negative 4, and that's going to give me a number. That number is going to be negative 8. In synthetic division, you're adding. Okay, in long division we subtract, in synthetic division we add. So we're going to add 9 plus negative 8. 9 plus negative 8 is 1. Now we're going to start this process again. I'm going to bring this 1 up here. So it's going to be 1 times negative 4. 1 times negative 4 is negative 4. 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3. Then I'm starting the process again. I'm going to bring up that negative 3. I'm going to multiply by, you guessed it, negative 4. When I multiply those two together, what I end up with is a positive 12. When I add these two together, I get 0. This last piece right here is my remainder. Okay, so this is my remainder. Now watch. Well, I'm gonna make you a little note right here. This is your remainder. Now, I just need to well, let's, you know what? Hey, I didn't fill in my steps. Let's fill in some steps that we've done so far. So first we checked for decreasing degree and we had it, right? The second thing we did was we found our C. Okay, so I'm just going to write find C and put in a box. The third thing we did was we wrote, so you're going to write just the coefficients. Okay, write coefficients of the one that you're dividing by. So 4, okay, so then we did all that, so I have the purple and the green. Then you're going to bring your first number down. And then you're going to multiply the result with C. Or the number in that box, right? The number in the box. And then you're going to add it to the next number. So add to the next number. Now, we're almost done, believe it or not. The last thing that we need to do is we need to look at the original was x cubed. So when I fill in, I'm going to use x squared. So it's going to be 1 degree less. Okay, 1 degree less, and I'll show you what to do here. So all you're doing is you're taking this 2, 1 degree less would be x squared plus x minus 3. And guess what that is? That is your answer. Okay, that is your answer, believe it or not. That is 2x cubed plus 9x squared plus x minus 12 divided by x plus 4. There it is. This right here is your answer. Okay, so on that last step, what I did was, I'm going to write pen. 10 pens on my hand here. That last step was so decrease degree of the variable with the highest degree, and then put with new numbers. Just like I did, it's kind of hard to explain in words. It's a lot easier to just show you. I think I need to scoot this page up just a touch. Touch more. There we go. Okay, so I guess, you know, that's kind of crude on, you know, what you want to do here. And then, you know, so we started with these. So just to summarize, we started with these. I put the purple, and remember it's the opposite. Don't forget, it's opposite here. I brought just the coefficients down. That's all I need to use. I brought this number down, and then I started my process where I'm going to take this number, multiply it by c. I get a new number, and I'm just going to add. And then I take this number, I put it right up there, I multiplied it by c, I got a new number, and then I add. And I did the same thing here. I brought that -3 up, I multiplied it by c, I got a new number, 12, and then I added. This right here, this last piece, is your remainder. Okay, but I didn't have a remainder, I had 0. So then I decreased the degree, and so I had x cubed, so I went with x squared, and I put it with the numbers. Okay, so x squared, x to the first, x to the 0, which we don't show. Synthetic division. It's it. That's it. It's kind of weird. I know. I got it. But it works. It makes it pretty easy. Not that long division isn't easy. I think that's easy too. But anyway. All right, I'm going to switch pages on you, and we're going to try it again. It just takes practice. It simply takes practice. All right, so switching pages on you really quickly here. And we're going to do another one. I'll just get my paper in the right spot. I think I got it. All right, so this is synthetic division still. Okay, and here's my new one. I have 2y cubed minus 9y plus 3, and I'm going to divide that by y plus 2. Now I'm showing you different ways that you might see it. Okay, so the last one I just showed it kind of written out. This one is actually written as a fraction. Okay, now step 1. Check for decreasing degree. All right, I have 2. I'm going to put it over here. What's that? 2y cubed. But then it goes from y cubed to just y. Okay, well, I need that placeholder. Remember, we did that with long division. So I'm just going to go plus 0 y. You have to have that placeholder. Minus 9y plus 3. Now those in green, those are the numbers that I'm going to bring down. Okay, so I'm going to use 2, 0, -9, and 3. I also said that you need to bring down or put in a box this number right here. Now, it's not going to be a positive 2 because our definition said it's in the form x minus c. So if it's in the form x minus c, and c is the number I'm looking for, then I'm going to have to go with the opposite of what this is. So if I have a plus 2 here, I'm just going to go with a minus 2. Okay, so it's the opposite. Don't forget that. That's a big piece of it, otherwise you're going to get it wrong. Okay, and then I brought it down just a little bit because I need to do some work here. The first thing that I do is I bring this number down. They're not always 2. I don't know why my examples are all 2, but there you go. Alright, so there's 2. I'm going to bring up that 2. It's going to be 2 times what I have in purple, or -2. I get a new number. It's -4. And I add, well, that's going to give me -4. 0 plus -4 is -4. I'm going to bring that number up. I have -4. I'm going to multiply it by c, -2. I get a new number. It's 8. -9 plus 8 is -1. I'm going to bring up that -1. Multiply it again by my c, or that thing in purple. I get a new number. The new number is 2. And that last piece is my remainder. My remainder is 5. Alright, the next thing I need to do then is I look back at this. I see that I have y cubed. So that is my highest exponent. So I'm going to go down 1 to y squared, and I'm going to fill it in with these numbers. 2y squared minus 4y minus 1, and this time I have a remainder, so plus 5 all over y plus 2. And that is my answer. What do you think? Not so bad, right? Not so bad. Okay, and this one was an example of, let's see, looking for my orange. I don't see my orange Sharpie. Okay, I lost it. Put it on the floor. Oh, it was on the floor. What do you know? I found it. Okay. So this is an example where you have to actually fill in. See, we need a placeholder. Okay, so let's say not decreasing degree, need a placeholder. Alright, so that was that example. Again, all we did was we made sure it was in decreasing degree, realized it wasn't, rewrote it over here in decreasing degree. What I'm grabbing are the numbers that are in green, okay, because those are the coefficients. So I'm going to bring down my 2, my 0, my -9, my 3. I needed this number in the box. It's the opposite of what you see here, as long as y is by itself, no coefficient there. So it's the opposite of that number. Steps are bring down the first number, bring this one up, multiply by the c, get a new number, add, bring that guy up, multiply by c, you get a new number, add, bring that guy up, multiply by c, you get a new number, add. You have all the numbers you need. Go back up to the highest coefficient, the highest exponent is 3. I went to y squared and filled in each of these numbers, y squared, y. Okay, my video cut me off a little bit on that last piece, but I think I was pretty much done. So, so this is the last example, and in this one, in this example, so it's another example, this one's a little more difficult. And this is as difficult as they get. They don't get any harder than this because you would just use long division if it got any more difficult than this. But this one has a divisor. With a leading coefficient. Okay, so the problem with this one is that it has a 4. And we said in our definition that what we're dividing by is x minus c, but that's not x. That's 4x, and that's a problem. So we're gonna so this is what happens. So pay attention here. And this is just for explanation purposes. So when we write these, what we write is this. I'm going to write it like this. Wait a minute. Sorry. Recalculating here. Let's do this. 1 times 8x cubed plus 2x squared minus 49. Now I'm just trying to explain to you why it is the way it is. Okay. Now, I'm going to divide by this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out a 4. So I'm going to factor out a 4. What I have left then is x minus 7 over 4. Well, why do I want something so ugly? Well, because I can't do synthetic division with something in front of my x. Okay, so I factored out a 4, which means I divide each piece by 4 when I factor it out, right? So I divide 4x by 4, which gives me x, and I divide negative 7 by 4, which gives me negative 7/4. Now, I wrote it in color, that 1 and the 4, because the reality of the situation is that you then are going to have, I could rewrite this as 1/4 times 8x cubed plus 2x squared minus 49 all over x minus 7/4. This is the one that I'm going to use synthetic division on. In the end, I'm going to multiply 3 by 1/4. Okay, so that's where my 1/4 came from. I'm rewriting this. This is 1 times all this stuff. This is 4 times all this stuff. It allows me to say 1/4 times all this stuff. I can do synthetic division on this. Okay, so I'm going to use this side. My c in this case is the opposite of negative 7/4, which would just be 7/4. And then I'm whoa, sorry, I struck my pens. I'm taking each of these numbers, so I'm going to take my 8, my 2, and oh, look, I'm missing one right here. Right, there's one missing, so I'm going to have a 0x in there. And then I have 49. So my numbers are 8, 2, 0, and negative 49. Okay, so I needed a placeholder on that one. Now I know most of you are afraid of a 7/4 or a fraction, but you don't need to be afraid because it's all going to work out nicely, I think, I hope. Usually it does, not always, usually. I'm going to bring down that 8, so he's just going to come straight down. Okay, so I have an 8, but look at this, what happens. I'm going to bring up the 8. I'm going to multiply by 7 over 4. 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 times 7 is 14. So I have a new number. It's 14. 14 plus 2 is 16. I'm going to bring up that 16. I'm going to multiply it by 7/4. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. 0 plus 28 is 28. Bring up that 28. See how the numbers are not so horribly bad? You got to be able to do fractions, but that's life in the math world. You got to be able to do fractions. 4 goes into 28 7 times. I have a new number. It's 49. 49, a negative 49, a positive 49 is going to give me 0. And remember, that is my remainder spot. Not quite done. I have to come up here and say, oh, it's x cubed, so I'm going to go to x squared. So what I'm going to have then is 8x squared plus 16x plus 28. Now, I'm not done. I have to bring that 1/4 back in. I'm going to have to multiply that whole thing that I did by 1/4 to finish off the problem. Alright, well, 1/4 of 8, right, is 2. So I have 2x squared. So I'm just using the distributive property here. That's all I'm doing. And of course, you got to be able to do fractions because you're in upper level math. And if you can't do fractions in upper level math, then you need to figure them out. 1/4 of 16 is 4x. And 1/4 of 28 is 7. This is my answer. Okay, here is my answer. So I had to multiply through by that 1/4. Alright, so this is an example of a divisor with coefficient. And stepwise, you know, it's all the same steps that we did before. It's just that you have to, you know, the first thing you're going to have to do, though, is divide by the number in front of the x. Divide both on the divisor. Divide both terms by the number in front of the variable. Okay, and this is the idea of it. Okay, I have the 1, I have the 4, I can pull it out 1/4. I'm just going to do synthetic division on this stuff because I can. Here it is. I'm going to end up with a new polynomial, and I'm going to multiply through by 1/4, and I'm going to actually have my answer. Alright. Okay, guess what? That's it. There's not much more to synthetic division besides practice. So it just comes down to practice. So in class, we will be practicing. So I will see you in class.